There was a comment I once read that made me pause for a long time. Someone wrote, "I wish I had seen this video 20 years ago." Another person asked directly, "I'm already over 60. Is it too late to start over?" That question isn't just curiosity. It carries a very quiet fear. The fear that the door has already closed. The fear that your brain has somehow expired. And maybe you've thought that too, just never said it out loud. We grow up with a familiar story. Youth is the time to learn, and everything after that is just maintenance. When you forget a name or process information a little more slowly, you tell yourself, there it is. I'm getting old. But here's the interesting part. Neuroscience doesn't tell that story. It tells a completely different one. Not decline, but restructuring. Not losing ability, but shifting into a different cognitive system, deeper, slower, yet more complex and more interconnected. The problem is that many people try to learn at 50, using the strategies they used at 20. They push themselves to memorize faster, process faster, compete with speed, and when they can't keep up, they conclude that they're not what they used to be. Let me be blunt. Maybe you're not failing because of your age, maybe you're using the wrong tools for the brain you have now. In this video, I'll share what science actually says about the 50-plus brain, along with a practical model to help you start again without burning yourself out. If you've ever wondered, is it too late? Don't skip what comes next. And if you're serious about rewriting the next chapter of your life, follow now. What you're about to hear might change the way you see yourself. When it comes to the brain, after 50, many of us carry a rather gloomy narrative. Everything will slow down, memory will weaken, and the ability to learn will gradually decline. Forget a familiar name, or take a few extra seconds to recall a piece of information, and it's easy to conclude, my learning years are behind me. But if we look more closely at neuroscience, the picture is far more complex and far more hopeful. Aging is not simply deterioration. It is a process of restructuring. There are two forms of intelligence that help explain this shift. The first is fluid intelligence, the ability to process new information quickly, solve unfamiliar problems, hold data in working memory, and respond to novel situations. This type of intelligence typically peaks in youth and gradually slows over time. That part is true. Processing speed may not be what it once was. However, alongside this slowing, another form of intelligence continues to grow stronger: crystallized intelligence. This is your accumulated knowledge, lived experience, ability to understand complex contexts, and capacity to detect the hidden structures beneath events. Crystallized intelligence does not decline. In fact, it becomes richer with each passing year. A classic example comes from research on older typists. Although their basic keystroke speed is slower than that of younger typists, their overall performance is often comparable. The reason? They read ahead, anticipate upcoming words, and rely on experience to compensate for slower speed. They don't try to type faster, they work smarter by leveraging crystallized intelligence. This is the key shift, from speed to depth. Yet many people over 50 still try to learn the way they did at 20. They rely heavily on rapid memorization and instant processing, then feel disappointed when the results fall short. In reality, the brain at this stage operates differently. Brain imaging studies show that when younger adults perform a task, a specialized region is typically activated. In older adults, multiple brain regions often engage simultaneously. This phenomenon is known as compensatory scaffolding. The brain recruits additional networks to complete the task. Learning may feel more effortful, but this is not weakness, it is adaptation. Because more energy is being used, managing cognitive resources becomes crucial. Many people over 50 notice they are mentally sharpest in the morning. This is a natural biological shift. Therefore, the most demanding and focus-intensive learning should happen before noon. Instead of studying for long, uninterrupted hours, it's better to work in shorter sessions of about 30-40 minutes, with breaks in between. This approach helps prevent neurotransmitter depletion and reduces the risk of brain fog. Working memory can be imagined as a small table. Over time, that table may not feel as spacious as it once did. If you try to place too much information on it at once, everything becomes cluttered. The solution is simple but powerful. Write things down. A notebook or digital note system acts as an extension of that table. By recording ideas and information, you free up mental space for deeper thinking and meaningful connections. Another crucial adjustment involves how you approach new knowledge. Instead of learning in isolation, actively connect new information to what you already know. This is called relational learning. The ability to recognize structural similarities across domains remains very strong after 50. If you're learning programming, you might compare function structures to grammatical structures in a language you know. If you're studying business strategy, relate it to historical events or personal experiences you've witnessed. By doing this, you leverage your rich knowledge network instead of relying solely on processing speed. However, that vast store of experience can also create obstacles. Long-standing habits and thought patterns formed over decades are like deeply carved pathways in the brain. When learning something new, the brain tends to revert to familiar routes. This phenomenon is known as proactive interference. It doesn't mean you can't learn, it means old knowledge is competing with new knowledge. Simply recognizing this helps you cultivate patience and flexibility. To address this, the pillar and playground model can be especially useful. The pillar is one primary skill you focus on deeply for a period of time where most of your time and energy are invested. Here, you apply crystallized intelligence and relational learning for steady progress. Alongside it, you create a playground consisting of two entirely different skills, not with the goal of mastery, but to stimulate cognitive flexibility. If your pillar is logic-based, your playground might involve artistic or physical activities. If your pillar is creative, your playground might include a technical skill or a sport. Research shows that when older adults learn multiple diverse skills, especially unrelated ones, processing speed and working memory can improve significantly. Exposure to novelty in a low-pressure environment allows the brain to build new connections without being dominated by old mental ruts. Even simple activities like learning a video game that requires multitasking can enhance focus and filtering ability. It is important, however, to distinguish healthy aging from serious cognitive decline. The strategies described here apply to normal brain aging. If there are signs of mild cognitive impairment or neurological disease, approaches should be adjusted to prioritize safety and achievable success. So is it too late? The answer is clear, no. You may lose some speed, but you gain a priceless library of experience. When you respect your biological rhythms, manage your energy, connect the new with the familiar, and maintain a beginner's mindset, you don't just preserve your abilities, you expand them in deeper ways. Learning after 50 is not a race of speed. It is a journey of building a sustainable structure for the next chapter of your life. So in the end, is it too late to start over? The honest answer is no. Your brain does not have a switch that automatically shuts off your ability to learn once you turn 50 or 60. What changes is not your potential, but how it operates. You may not be as fast as you once were, but you are deeper, more seasoned, and equipped with a library of experience that younger people simply don't have. The issue isn't your age, it's whether you continue to believe that your time has passed. If you try to learn the way you did at 20, you'll feel discouraged. But if you learn in a way that respects your biological rhythms, protects your energy, connects new knowledge to what you already know, and allows yourself the space to be a beginner, you'll realize your ability hasn't disappeared. It's simply waiting to be used in the right way. Instead of asking, is it too late? Ask, when will I begin? Choose one skill to serve as your pillar and create a playground for novelty this very week. Don't let another year go by only to say, I wish I had. If you truly want to write the next chapter of your life, start today.